formatted document, so it's not possible that will compile. We should have text only. So text only, these editors are good. You can also use WordPad or if you want, but this is not a good editor because you have no coloration of the command you use, no things like that. So now we have a distribution. I told you distribution holds the file we need and especially the engines. Engines are the compilator, the main part of the compilator. So there is essentially two compilators, LaTeX, which produce from text file DVI file. DVI is device independent. This is the format that was invented by Donald Knuth. If you remember, this is the man who wrote TeX. And you have PDF LaTeX. This is for compiling directly to PDF. The PDF is, I think, the best way today to send that types of document, but maybe you want DVI files for backup purpose or something like that because they are very lightweight compared to PDF. But if you want, you have also two converters, which is called DVI to PS or DVI to PDF, that allow you to convert the document obtained with LaTeX to other formats. You have plenty of others, but they are not included in the basic distributions. So this is how you use it all the time. I mean, just the name of the command, the .tex file, and you have the output in the same directory. For those who will use TeXmaker or these editors I told you about, you'll see that you have in the configuration of the software, because this is well explained, it builds automatically this command line. You don't have to open a command line somewhere in your computer if you're not familiar with it. You just click on a button and okay, all goes well. You find then your file in the working directory, in the directory while you have the source file, the TeX file. Okay, everything's clear to this point? Do you have questions? So, sum up, you write a source file, a TeX file, with the extension .tex. You make it go through PDF LaTeX or LaTeX, and you obtain either a DVI file or a PDF file, which is the document you want at the end. Okay? So now we'll see how to write this document because, okay, we have all the process, but we need the beginning to have the end. So this is a very, very basic document. This you can't obtain a smaller document. First, you need a document class command. So you'll see this is a command. You have backslash, the name of the command, and then an argument between curly braces. This is the class you want to use. The class is what defines how things will look by default. So this is the beginning, the first line of every TeX file. You write it, and then you forgot about everything else. Then you have what is this? Is this a command? No, this is an environment. So this is the main part of the environment. This is mostly the same like body command in HTML. It says the browser for HTML or here the compiler that, okay, this is where the document starts really. Every text is meant for printing, and we will start to write a document. And then we have text. Only text. Okay, so I write very basis of every computer language. You write hello world. So the output is the page you see, so it's maybe a little literal. So here's the text that is on that page. You could have seen it here in the corner. Okay, so we can do better, far better, I think. So a document. What you can see here, we have up to the page you have document class. This is always here, I told you. Then you have plenty of things, but then what you find, I told you it's always there. This is the document environment. So before this document environment, this is called preamble. This is the beginning of your file. In the preamble, you have information like in the header part of an HTML file. This is some other information that might be useful for the compiler to build your document. First, we have a command which is called title. Okay. In it, we've put some dirty things. My first. Then there is a command which is called please react, which is called LaTeX. Okay. Or are you completely lost? Or you are just too, too asleep to answer? No problem. If you're too asleep, I go through, and then you will look the slides, and okay, everything will be okay. But please react a little bit. So we have a LaTeX command, which is supposed to produce something, but we don't know what. And then document. So we can read it. My first LaTeX document. Then we have a command which is called, thank you, author. This is my name inside. And okay, this is the end of the preamble. And inside the preamble, we have another command, which has argument or no? Okay, please. No argument. So then an empty line, then some text with another time the LaTeX command, and then we say goodbye at the end. So what can we see here? I've underlined spaces in the source text, so you can see our breaklines are real breaklines. I mean, I wrote exactly that in the text file. When you have a new line, this is a new line. And you see in the title command, we have 4 spaces. What is the output now? We obtain that. Can you see the 4 spaces I laid between my and first? My first LaTeX document, which is the title. No. Okay. What the LaTeX command was used for? It's to produce the LaTeX logo, the logotype. And the author is used to typeset the author of the document. And then why make title? This is the only command we don't understand here. Do we agree about that? We understand all command, but we don't understand make title. In fact, make title just make use of what title and author have done before. So title and author prepare something, and when I use make title, it just prints my first LaTeX document and my name and the date. Because the date we didn't set it anywhere. So you can see that the document was compiled on the 13th of January, not today. This is an old document I print for you. Okay. Then there is something wrong on this document. Can you see it? Yes, we have a problem at the end of the document. This little A with a ring is not on the screen. So, in fact, this is a problem of encoding. This is always the problem when you talk about markup languages. This is the same for HTML because documents are meant for, the text has to be encoded. That means you have to find a way to tell to the computer, okay, this is a E, this is a A. Okay, so we are seeing us numbers. We're seeing them numbers, sorry. And then we can say, okay, this was a A, this was a E. So here, in fact, we had numbers that the compiler shouldn't understand. So you say, okay, well, this is a number I don't understand, this is a number I don't know what to do with, so I don't output anything. Even an A, because it doesn't know if it was an A before the ring on it. So here is the solution. This is the first package we've seen. So I told you package are like libraries in other languages, or sometimes they are also called package in other languages. It depends, but it's slightly the same thing. And you can have many encodings. Here are just the four more common encoding you can find today. So if you're on Windows, it's one of Latin often. If you're on Mac, if it's an old Mac, it's Apple Mac. If it's more recent, it could be but he wanted to do it on his own computer, not to prepare only main manuscript and send to the printer that will do the job to make a copy. He wanted to prepare all on the computer. So he invented TeX. It was released so in 1978, and that might interest some of you. This is a Turing complete language. You can do mostly every calculation you want on it. This goes as far as lambda calculus for those who knows a bit about that. We can discuss it during the break. So when did we go from TeX to LaTeX? So this is Leslie Lamport. He was a user of TeX. Uses this a lot, but he thought it was too ground level, too low level for him. So he used TeX to prepare some language with higher level, and some interesting part of it is that is a markup language. So what is a markup language? You may know some markup languages. First line sounds really familiar to some of you? No? The first line? Is HTML? No? Please react a little. This will be a little less longer for you, shorter. I mean, this will be shorter for you and better for me. And the second line is LaTeX. So you can see the similarity. The idea of markup languages is to put together data and formatting information as text, only text. And then a browser or a compiler will transform it in a document that you can see, and it's purely graphic. So this allows the separation between the semantic, this is what you want to say, what you make the document, and the presentation, which is quite important because this is what others see when they have your document in hands. And this is here we have a lot to learn, in fact, because semantic, this is your job. I'm not here for that. So for today, first we'll see a little about syntax and the compilation process, how you come from a TeX file, a LaTeX file, to a document, a pretty document that you can send to others. We will build our first document together. I will tell more then about how to separate things, paragraphs, sections, how to have a table of contents, and about how to make things maybe more pretty, larger font, a smaller one, or things like that. I insist if I say something you don't understand because either my English is bad or because I use words you don't know, please stop me immediately. And if it's not important, we'll see later at the break. So first, about the syntax, because this is a language, so we should learn a little about syntax. Sometimes we can ask ourselves why I should learn another language. I know plenty of languages. Why each time I want to do something else, I should learn another languages. This is the most important thing in this kind of view, that if you learn languages, it's easier to learn other languages. So learn plenty of languages. All languages you can learn it. You'll see, so we have said that LaTeX is about marking. It's marking languages. So we have two ways to mark things. First is commands. This is a backslash, the name of the command. So you will see later we have plenty of name of commands, and you can write your own commands if you want, that in any languages. First, in square brackets, you have optional arguments. There can be many optional arguments. Then you have the real arguments, mandatory arguments, which are in curly braces. Environments is the other kind of markup things. And you can see that this is quite similar to commands. In fact, this is a first command, which is called begin. Okay? I feel you lost, completely lost. Oh, it's okay. Here, you can see that this is exactly the syntax we described earlier, except that you have curly braces before optional arguments, but this is the same. Okay? Yes? And the environment is ended by an end command. Okay. So, and in between you have the text that is influenced by the argument. Take this as, but it's in HTML, when you say a tag, an open tag say something about what follows, and then tag say, okay, it's over. It's not bold anymore, it's not centered anymore, or things like that. So, as you can see, any characters can't be seen as just text. In between I say it's influenced text, but we can't put anything, because some things may be interpreted as commands. Okay? So we have special characters, which are, the first is the curly braces that were used to group things. So it was used to group arguments, as you've seen before. So if you want to enter a curly braces in your text, you should tell LaTeX that this is not a curly braces of the language, but a real curly braces. So you just escape it. This is something you might know from shell scripting and things like that. No? Anyone know about shell scripting? Okay. So you can, because this is a language, you can have the idea to put comments. This is the purpose of the %. When you put a %, the entire line after the % is the % character is a comment. So you can't write a real comment after it on the line. So you can also escape it. This is then the backslash, and there is something. Okay, there is an error here. I'm sorry. So the backslash you have seen before, it's the command. So forget the fourth line. This is an error. So the backslash you have seen, this is for the starting of a command. So if you want really to put a backslash in your text, you have to use a command. So here you have the list, the fourth line you forget. About the other special characters, we'll see later on why they are used for, but keep in mind that if something goes wrong, maybe it's just you forgot some special characters, forgot to escape it. Wait, yes. Yes, this is exactly what I said. Fourth line is false. This is an error. You don't keep it. It's you just throw away. The fourth line is not right. In fact, the command that is on the right, backslash is used, but not to typeset a backslash. There is no use, another use for that. So we'll see later also. So now we know that LaTeX is a language. So we will write a file with LaTeX commands with text, and we want to produce a document. So what we need to produce this document? First, you need a LaTeX distribution. This is kind of big software that hold all the files you will need to compile your document. So you just ask it when you need a new library, and it will get it for you. And maybe anything is automatized, so no problem with that. The main one are TeX-Live, MikTeX, and MacTeX. MikTeX is mainly intended for Windows, MacTeX mainly intended for macOS, but TeX-Live works for all, so you can take TeX-Live if you want. Then you can use a text editor, okay, just to type your code. So I have VI, Emacs. This is more for Linux, Unix people. Then you have for Windows people or some macOS people, TeXmaker, Technic Center, TeXworks. You choose whatever suits you. I always used TeXmaker, which is a pretty good one. Now you use what you want. What about Word? So never write code with Word. This is the rule for all languages. I said because sometimes you see on forums people that say, "Oh, I can't understand. I have a document in this file with the extension .tex. It should compile, but I can't." And then you get the document and you open it with Word. In fact, this is a fully UTF-8, so maybe check. If you don't know how to check, we'll see, but just try to compile a document. If it doesn't output what you were thinking it should output, this is because this is not the right encoding. And for Unix and Linux, today it's mostly UTF-8, but you can find all the encoding. And this is all available on the internet if you're not sure about which one you could use. Now, where to put this command? Why do you think? We have, we have two parts in the document. So the first is the preamble, then we have the body of the document. Where it should go? Yes, in the preamble. This is perfectly logical. So we put it here in the preamble, mostly at the beginning, because we think that it's very important for the compiler to understand what's following if it has already loaded this package. So we put it at the beginning, and the output is finally correct. So I used UTF-8 because I'm on a Linux machine, but you use whatever is suitable for you. And this is whatever is suitable for the file, in fact, because even under Windows, you can get a file that has been produced on a Linux machine. So it will be in Unicode, in UTF-8, for example. And you get it on your Windows machine. You want to compile it. Don't modify the use package command with the input enc, because in fact the encoding hasn't changed because you load it. But if you change the encoding, yes, you need to change the command. Is that clear about encoding? Mostly? Okay. Another thing here you might see it's where LaTeX is very good at. It's to produce good text and well formatted text. Do you see what happens to FI here in the text for first, or here in the title for first? Okay, the F and the I are just printed together as a unique letter. This is a ligature. This is a very old practice for printers. They do this since Gutenberg. This is because first, this is more readable. We'll see later. If you put curly braces between the F and the I, so what you say to the compiler, this is important to understand. You say, okay, here is an F, and say what is next? Curly braces. Okay, so it's not a ligature. I put the F, and then I go what is inside curly braces, inside this group we have made. Oh, nothing. Okay, no problem. I continue, and then I print a I. What is the result? The result is, well, this ugly thing with an F, which has, you know, this little head, which is meant for a beautiful font. We have this little head on the F, but you have the point of the I just next to it. This is very ugly. So why is this important? Because this is not the only thing that ligature can do. Here is what ligature mainly can do for punctuation, for example. So sometimes you want to put a character you don't have on the keyboard. So you have two ways to do it. Either a command, which is sometimes long. You see on the right, these are commands for producing what is in the middle column. So this is not very good when you read the source file, because you're interrupted by this big command. So we have another solution. This is to have fonts that have good ligature. Most of the fonts in LaTeX have these ligatures. So the first one, this is called an N dash. Do you see what is called an N dash? Compare with the M dash, which is just beneath. So this is, in fact, the width of the character, which is an M. The M is a length that is defined by the width of the letter M. Okay, so then N is, okay, an half of M. Okay. What are they used for? The first one is mostly, in fact, you know, when you put only one, how do you call that? You know, one minus sign. This one dash. This produces a little dash, which is used mainly in words. For example, electroencephalogram. You have a dash between, an if-and dash. And this dash is only meant for separation. You can't use it anywhere else. This is mostly wrong. Then you have the N dash, which is meant for separating, for example, a list of pages. You have page from pages from 3 to 8. It will output pages, and then 3. You can put an N dash 8. This is the character you should use. Between this kind of list, this kind of interval. Then the M dash, you might have seen it in good typographic documents. This is used mostly like parenthesis, or this is an incis. This is when you want to say something that is not really part of what you're saying, but that might be important. It can be ironic or things like that. Then you have quotation marks. And the last two one you may know from Spanish, with part of the punctuation from Spanish. If this is very present in the Spanish text, you'll be happy to use just the ligature on the left and not the common on the right, which is quite long. Okay? So is it clear that this is just the font that, you know what is a font? Okay, this is the collection of characters you put on the papers. This is the role of the font to provide this ligature, and most of the fonts used with LaTeX provides this ligature. Okay? Okay. So we talked about the accent, the A with a ring, but okay, now I have a QWERTY keyboard, and so I can't use this A with a ring, but I have to typeset my document in Swedish. I don't know how to do it. There is a solution. This is how you put, this is called accents, but it's also diacritics. This diacritics, so all this little modification you can see in many languages on letters. So you can all, you can make all these ligatures and maybe more using other library. Okay, do you see why sometimes we have put, for example, on the first line we have a backslash, a character, then the O, and on the fifth line we have the backslash, the H, and between curly braces, the O. Any idea? Sorry? Yes, we can put anything in between curly braces. In fact, all cases works if you put the O between curly braces. But why it's not needed in the first, second, and then all cases, except H, C, K, B, D, R, U, V, T. Any idea? This is because simply a character used as a command cannot appear in a whole command name. So if it appears, it must be the last one in the command. So then we know that the letter is not part of the name of the command. Okay, this is just little rule, but it can avoid you putting curly braces everywhere in the document. So if you're not sure, put braces, but you can avoid them most of the time. In fact, when we have, for example, text backslash C and the O, if we haven't put curly braces, this will have called the command CO, which do whatever it's defined for. I mean, maybe nothing, and it can output an error like the macro was not defined or things like that. Okay? Yes?
How do you make a backslash on the document? Since the backslash is a LaTeX key character, how do you make a backslash?
How do you produce the backslash? Okay, it was a little in the beginning, but you know it's a command for that, which is called text backslash. So to produce an explicit backslash, you have to use the command which is called text backslash. Okay? So it's not that frequent, and we will see that we have better ways to display these kind of characters, not having to escape all of them. For example, I've made the slide here with LaTeX. So you see it's not possible just to produce reading documents meant for reading, but also presentation. And you can see there is a lot of backslash. I didn't have used text backslash everywhere. This will be horrible. So we have other solutions, but we'll see later. Okay, for diacritics, here is not a good example, but you can use other letters that are more frequent. For example, on the right, you have the O with a ring, which is not very useful, especially in Swedish, but the A with a ring works the same. Okay, this is the same for all letters. Sorry, it's replaced by more used letter with the diacritics. It's related, so I put it here. If you want to put a circumflex on an I, this will produce what is below. If ever it doesn't produce this may happen on some LaTeX installation. You replace the I with the command that has for name I. And this command produces an I without the point, because on some installation you may obtain an I with the point and with the circumflex accent in it, which is not what you want to obtain. Okay? So it's just a little tip if you encounter some problem with the I, with this I. Otherwise, you should use your keyboard to produce this I. You don't have to use this on most keyboards. You can produce directly this I. Then, so what do we have now for our basis for a document? So the preamble. This is what I recommend to use for preamble as a basis. I mean, you can replace it with what you want, but if you don't know what to put in the preamble, at least put this. So first, the document class with an option now. So the option is A4 paper. This is the size of the output, because if you want, you can produce whatever you want. I mean, A5 or other things. We'll see later. Then, input encoding to read your file in the good way, in the right way. Then this is, you don't ask why, but this is important. Okay, for some characters, they may. In fact, we've talked about the input encoding, but you have to choose an output encoding for your file to be readable. So, to produce this output encoding, you need to precise something. So this is what this command is used for. Okay. Then, this is for you, most of you. This is the package called Babel. So you might know some things about the myth of Babel. It's about languages. It's how LaTeX will support languages. For example, Babel might define some shorter commands to produce special characters that are very frequent in a language. For example, when you use German, this allows you to you just put this double quoting character and the O, and you don't have to make a command. This is seen as a ligature. Okay, no, I restart. Okay, you have seen that when you want to put an umlaut on an O, just this kind of character that is used in German on O, and it's not on your keyboard. You have to use backslash, the quotation mark, with the double quotation mark, and the O. Okay, maybe in curly braces. So it's a command. But if you have Babel with German, this is so useful to have a ligature for this umlaut O that Babel defined it for you, because this is a very frequent character. So you don't need anymore the backslash at the beginning. Okay, this is more clear? Okay. And then you can start. You have seen that in Babel you can tell Babel to use two different languages. I have to admit that I don't know what the Swedish languages does exactly, but you might want to use it, and then when you're stronger in LaTeX, you will look what it does really. If you have to switch between languages, so you declare both English and Swedish, the later one is used always in this command. If you want to change during the document, you just have to select language. This is a command that is defined by the library Babel, by the package Babel. Okay? Yes? So we have plenty of other document classes, so you can replace the class name by whatever you want. Minimal is meant for testing. You will see it in exercises that I will put on the web. Then you have article, IEEE trans and proc, which was mostly the same. IE trans is meant for IE publication, if you know this institution. And then you have, for bigger things, you have report, book, and memoir. This class name are meant for more than 10, maybe 20 pages. You will see the differences also in exercises. Beamer is meant for slides, and letter is meant for producing letter. For all these class that are very common, that are standardized, and you will find in every distribution, you have options. The first line is about the size of the font. Then you have the size of the paper. You can choose title page or no title page. That means, you've seen when we produced our first document, we have the title, then the text. Okay, somewhat, if you have a bigger document, we find useful to have the title page, then you turn, and the document starts. Okay? One column, two column. This is if you want columns. Landscape if you want to turn the page one quadrant. One side, two side. This is important. Why? You might think that in a PDF you don't have one side and two side. No, you don't turn your screen to look back to the document. It's all just pages. Okay, but when you produce document, you have margins. Okay, on the left, on the right, and bottom, and the top. And when you fold a big document, this will take some place on the left side for the odd page, and on the right side for the even page. So you see that margins will not be the same on the left and the right side, depending on the number of your page. Okay, so this is why this is important, because if you say one side, there's only one side, so all pages are seen as odd pages, like the first one. This means with margin on the left, you don't have something written on the back of the paper. And for two side, this is the contrary. Okay? Then we'll see later. This is time for a break, I think. So we'll see in 15 minutes. How to produce our first document, but we don't know. I think we have sentences, but we don't know how to group this in paragraph, maybe in sections, chapter. I don't know anything else. So first, we'll talk about paragraph, because this is the important part. Sorry. Okay, so here I have a text that is far too long. Why is it too long here? This is the text that was in my text file. I keep it this long because I want to show you that often you work on maybe 80 characters large or things like that. So where you break the line is not important. Here we have break the line at otherwise, and you see otherwise is here, and there is no line to break here. Okay, so we have the paragraph that is composed linearly, and even you can see that LaTeX produces alone this hyphenation. I mean, it cut the word by itself. This is one role of Babel. Babel load a lot of definition on how to break words. This part of the text was not visible, but it's just I've just written. Sorry, I've just written multiple without dash in it, without hyphen in it, and LaTeX does the trick. Then, how to produce a new paragraph? Just leave an empty line. By empty, I mean a line that contains only kind of spaces character. This can be spaces or tabulation, whatever you want here, as long as you don't have a printable character. So this empty line tells LaTeX to start a new paragraph. Here is the paragraph. Okay, so there is a word in this paragraph that is not very long, but that don't want to break. Here we have a problem. The word is too large and it goes far away in the margin. This is not good. This is what you want. This may appear sometimes. Here I forced LaTeX to do it. Often you can write 100 pages and never encounter this kind of things. But it may happen, so I show you quickly how to avoid this. First, you want to detect this quickly when you proofread your document. You don't want to read each line and say, okay, is it a line? Okay, no, maybe. So, if you remember, we've seen that you can put options in your document class. One of these options is draft. You know what is draft? This is when you're not sure of your document and this is just a working document. So we add this, and what does it produce? Produce a little black square rectangle that shows you when you have problems with lines. For example, here the line is too full, everything goes on the same line. There is a problem. So we'll see later how to solve it. First solution, this is where you find the common that I talked to you about at the beginning, and that was an error, that was wrong. So we may think that here it's enough to break the line here. Then no problem with this where that won't break. Okay, we try. This is ugly, isn't it? This is supposed to go up to the end of the line. In fact, this command doesn't tell LaTeX that you are in a paragraph. It tells LaTeX to start something like a paragraph, in fact, just a new line, and no matter what goes next. So it's not good. So we may want to try this. Okay. This is meant for, I've read the documentation and I've browsed the web and I've seen that this line break is meant to tell LaTeX, okay, now if you want, you can break the line as you want. This number is how you want this to be just an advice or an order. If you put 1, this is just a little advice, but if it doesn't do what you want, there's no problem, you don't mind. 4 is an order, a total order. You can't, LaTeX can't avoid it. It will do what you want him to do. This is not the first time you will see this kind of arguments. This is documented on the common, so you will find it, for example, on the web. Okay, here it doesn't work. It's not enough for LaTeX to break the line. But why? Okay, so we think we're better than the computer, that the algorithm that is behind, and we say, okay, LaTeX, just break the line here. This is an order. So it does. But here we see why he won't do that if you don't tell him, and why he don't want to do that. This is because spaces between words are too large. This is not cool. Here it's not very important because this is very short, but when we have a long text, sometimes when you use word, this is what happens. You have very long spaces between words, and once you are on this line, you're stopped. You're, oh, what is this? And you can't read. You know, it's okay. Me, I can't. Maybe you can. But things that you don't produce the document for you. So if some people are hurted by this kind of thing, you should not produce this. So we have a better way. In fact, monospace could be broken between mono and space. Just LaTeX didn't know. So we just have to tell him, okay, now this is how you will effinate monospace. So we have a command which is called effination, and which accepts a list of words separated by spaces. And within this word, you put this hyphen. This is just a tip for, a mark for LaTeX to know where to break. That doesn't mean that this character will be produced everywhere in the text. If there is no line to break here, monospace will be output as usual. Okay? So here it is far better. In fact, maybe not because there is this kind of little word all along the line. Maybe the paragraph is longer than that, not just 3 lines. So it doesn't matter. The longer the paragraph are, the better the algorithm is. This is important to keep in mind. If you have 2 short paragraphs, this may happen that you're not quite satisfied by the result. If ever you are totally unsatisfied, just change 1 word in your paragraph. There is no reason that it fails again, because there is plenty of solutions. And if you change just 1 word, in most of the case, you have a better solution after that, because this is very rare. So we have seen how to break line where we want, if LaTeX doesn't do it. Now, if we want to keep things on the same line, we have a problem with that. Maybe it could happen that LaTeX breaks something thinking that it can, and you don't want it. And we have seen also that LaTeX eats spaces in front of comments or afterwards. So how do we do if we want to put more than 1 space? You have 2 different solutions, which are quite equivalent. First, here is the problem. We have a phone number, okay? The output is not exactly what you want. In fact, I forgot a point here. But also the phone number is broken in 2 parts, which is not really what you want. So 2 ways: you modify your sentence to keep it together, but if later you modify again your sentence, there is no reason that this works afterwards. So we have better than that. We use the command mbox, which means make box. So it puts all its arguments into a kind of box, which is unbreakable. So then it is seen as a single character by LaTeX. When LaTeX arrives here, so it's reading to make the paragraph, it breaks, you come here, then it says this big character that is not a character you know, but a big character. And it knows that the character can't fit here, so it put it on the next line, as if it was a word that is unbreakable. Okay? You may think that this can produce the type of thing we've seen with monospace, exactly the type of thing we've tried to remove before. Okay, maybe, but you will see better something that is too long in the margin when you proofread than a number which is just cut between two lines. So better produce something that is so awful that you see it immediately than something that you might maybe see later, and perhaps after publication, which is not good. So here we use mbox because we want this to be seen as a kind of word together, a word that is unbreakable. Sometimes you have two real words. We're talking about Mr. So-and-so, and this Mr. So-and-so, we don't want to break between Mr. and so-and-so. This goes together, okay? This is how you want to typeset all these kind of things. Maybe sometimes this is the first name and the last name you don't want to break, or the middle name you want to keep with the first name. You know, whether you have Donald Knuth, for example, his middle name starts with an E, so you have Donald E. Knuth. So Donald E, you want to keep it together. You don't want to have a line broken between Donald and then E. Knuth. This is not what you want. So how do we do? Here we don't want it to be seen really as you know, a single unbreakable word. We just want to join two words so that they stay together. So we have this kind of tile. So the tile is this, you know, this wave. This is the little wave, which is on every keyboard, and this is not outputted as a tile. This produces an unbreakable space. So this space can't be broken between two lines. So here we have together Mr. So-and-so. The line is not very, very good, and in fact, LaTeX inform you when you compile. You have, like every languages, you have error and warning, and in the warning you will see that this line isn't seen as very good by LaTeX. So maybe we want to, when we have finished all the document and it's just, you know, proofreading, you know, just before publication, you might want to change it a little to avoid this kind of ugly things. So we have seen one of our problem. The next one is about spaces. You may want to put spaces between words. We have seen that spaces between words can grow as far as LaTeX wants, maybe for the algorithm, or can be compressed. Or this is an interword spacing forced. So if you put three things like that, they may expand at three interword space. So for the line we have seen before that were very stretched out, these three spaces will be very stretched out, 3 times more than others because there are 3. Okay? So this is this kind of elastic space. Okay? Here you can put horizontal space, which have a length you define. This may be useful if you want, for example, write something far from the margin. Okay, far away from the margin, maybe 3 centimeters. Maybe this is kind of title or things like that. Or you want to separate 2 things in a title, or okay. So we can put these things, and we can also put this vertical space, which is between lines. So you may see this is important. This little star. This is an alternate meaning of the command. This is very frequent that you have a LaTeX command that have a kind of equivalent with a star. The meaning of the command with the star depends on the command, and you have to search what it means. But here, this kind of spaces may disappear. For example, you have these spaces between 2 words, but the line is broken between these 2 words. Then these spaces disappear totally, because LaTeX doesn't know where it should be put at the end of the first line or at the beginning of the second. There is no rule for that, and there is no need to keep this space. If ever you want this to be seen as a real space, you put a star, and the algorithm will see this space as a word that can be kept on the first line, or that can go to the second line. Okay, so it will never disappear. The same goes for this at the beginning of a page or at the end of a page. Okay, a little about length, because you will see them again later. I will talk about it maybe next time more. You have some units. Some are very common, millimeter, centimeter. You might know point, which is not exactly the same that we use on screen, but this is a point. And the inch for royal units. And then you might recognize this, an M. I told you about this. This is the width of the letter M. So this is pretty useful for horizontal spacing, but for vertical spacing, there is no need of something that measures the width of the M, because if the font has very large M, it doesn't tell you anything about the height of all the letters. So we have also the X, which is quietly the height of one X. Okay. And this length, which is elastic, this is not exactly what is used in interword spacing, but we'll see later what it can be used for. You have some predefined spaces. Here is for horizontal. You know, it's just multiple. It's 2 times the previous one each time, and here is what it represents compared to the font. Okay. Here is the same for vertical space. And on the right, this is how this is defined. So when you put a Medscape, in fact, this is read by LaTeX. This is a command that expands, that is seen by LaTeX as a vertical space, which is the length Medscape amount. You can change this length for your document. Okay, this is an example of customization you might want to do. It's just a little bit about elastic spaces. I will come over it again later, but this is how you can, for example, this one is interesting because I've put the plus. So here you have what the command I've entered in my text file, what is the output. The output is the plus goes on the left margin, and the plus on the right goes on the right margin. And here, this is exactly at 1/3 of the page. Exactly. Okay. So you might want to do this. The equivalent, you have 2 equivalent of this horizontal spacing that's stretched as long as you want. One produce a line, one produce dots. It's going to be useful when you're typesetting some documents that needs to have fields or things like that. Okay, we've seen that by default, LaTeX justify the text. Now, what this means, it tries to keep things against the left margin and the right margin. Sometimes you don't want. For example, in a newspaper, you have a very narrow column, and you can't justify things because it will be awful. If you see, you have only 3 words on the line, and if they are not exactly the size of the column, we have extra space everywhere. This can be better to keep this space at the end. So we have these are environments. So how you will use this environment if you want to produce that. So here is exactly the same text as default, a line on the left, a line on the right, and centered. So how to use it? This is begin and in curly braces flush left, then your text, which will be influenced, and you end the environment with the end flash left. Okay? Just stop me if anything is not clear. Then we'll see how to break the document. So we have paragraph, but we want intertitle like sections, subsections, and things like that. So here are the commands that you want to use. Often we start only at this point, section, but this one are also important. So you can break things in part. A part is often when you speak about a really, really different subject. There is no real link between, or the only link will come in a third part of your document. So there is no link at the first reading, and you can read it mostly separate. So here you have the document class you use, because this command are redefined by the document class. This means that they don't behave the same depending on the document class you use. You will see in the exercises that you can, if you want to go through the exercises, that you can test the behavior of LaTeX with this different document class. So you have essentially you have section, subsection, subsection, paragraph, subparagraph, and chapter is important in book because you want to break things in book with, I mean, a beautiful page for starting a chapter, while a section is just running in the text. Yes?
Can we add some more levels if we want to?
Sorry?
Can we add some more levels if we want to?
No, I would say no. In fact, because all this is defined by LaTeX for using TeX underneath. If you want, and if you're strong enough with TeX, you can build your own command to enlarge this. Maybe, I don't know, we could check it at the end, but maybe there is an extension, a package that define others command that can go far enough. But often you don't need more than 5 subsections. Yes, you need?
Not often. Depends actually.
Okay. We can go through it after this part. So here is how you use it. These are just comments. So you put the argument here is the title of your section or subsection, etc. Here is the result. This is what we obtain. Okay, so this is, you can see that all numeration, all numbers here are fully automatic. You don't need to put the numbers, which is very important, because if you decide that this subsection finally should go before the first one, no problem. In fact, the title will be wrong, because it won't be my first perception that you don't need to put the number in the title. So, but it will reorder everything and renumerate everything. Okay. So and now you can see that this is not exactly sexy for titles. Also, it's clear. I mean, it's very clear, but it's not very sexy. So how to change the style of that? I strongly recommend you, if you're interested, to look in the LaTeX companion and search. There is an index. You search for @start section. This is a special command that allows you to change the behavior of this section commands. This is not very difficult to use, and at the end of this course you can use it. So if you're very interested, you can try it. Then, how to produce a table of contents at the beginning of the document? Just use the command. It's some kind of command that is like make title, things like that. This produces exactly what you want. So you have my first section, my first here are the two subsection, then followed by a sub-subsection. Okay? And then on the right you have pages for this. This is fully automatic, including this contents title. But if you're writing in another language, Babel should change that. So you don't have to bother on that word. It will change automatically with the use of Babel, which I told you before. Okay? If ever you want, it's possible. You might search on the web or in the LaTeX companion, which is very detailed on this point. But if you see here, it goes up to the sub-subsection. This might not be what we want, because in our document this is rare and it's somewhat anecdotic, and we don't want it to appear in the table of content. Okay? So we can change that using this command. This is not just meant for that. A counter is exactly what is used for the numeration here. Okay? So if you want to know more about counter, we can talk about it later, or you can search through the web, but practice a little before counter. I've avoided to talk about this today because I think it's a little advanced. So if you're already a little advanced when coming here, you might want to take a look. This is very interesting, and you can do very beautiful things with it, because this is all automatic. So we changed the depth of the table of content with this counter, and we don't want it to go more as far as the subsection. Okay, so the sub-subsection, I mean, and it does exactly what we wanted. Okay, the sub-subsection is removed here, but still appear in our document. Okay, this is not correlated. Yes, maybe a little abstract of your document may be useful. So you have this environment, you put the text in it, and then you have your abstract. Okay, sectioning a document in LaTeX is maybe the most easy thing you've ever done before. Working was far harder. Okay, so this sometimes you have sections and you want to refer to another section, but because numeration is automatic, you don't want to say see section 3, page 9, because maybe later this will not be the section 3, maybe 2 or 4, because you have added another section or removed one, and this may not be on the same page. So we have a tool for that, which is called referencing. So after the command that defines the section, you can put a label. This is not just for section. This is for all sectioning commands, and eventually for other commands that are aware of that. We'll see later. This is used in mathematics, for example, with equation. You want to refer to an equation, but sometimes you've seen in book that equations are numbers, and you want to refer to one of these equations. This is also this command which is used. So in it, I just put a word. This is whatever you want. Just try to avoid some kind of special characters. You're not sure how they can be interpreted by LaTeX, so put maybe only ASCII. Okay. This is the sure way to do it. I think the @ character is accepted, but is not necessary. You can use also don't want the word in English. The colon. You know these 2 points. The colon. In it, we'll see later that it's useful when you have a lot of label and you want to separate labels which refers to sections, label which refers to figures, labels which refers to equations, because it will be easier to keep track of this. And to talk about this section, you need to use the command ref and page ref. You might not, you may use only one of them, not both each time. If you just want, if this is a short document and you just want to refer to the section, this is useful. But when you have 10, 20, 50, 150 pages, this is useful for your reader to have the page where the section was. Okay, and this is very important that you compile 2 times. Why LaTeX needs here 2 times to compile the document? This is because when you first read, this may be that you may refer to a section which comes after. So at the time where LaTeX, when LaTeX comes through ref, he reads the label and says, okay, I don't know where it is. So you would see that it outputs a question mark, and that's all. Then, and second time, because it writes a lot of auxiliary file, which you can see when you open the directory, when you have your source files, you will see that in this document, LaTeX writes that he knows now where is the label. So on the second compilation, he can write the good number here or here. Okay? So if you don't understand why you have a question mark, or if you in a hurry you have proofread your documents but you want to compile it again, so you remove the PDF and you compile it, please compile it 2-3 times maybe. Okay? So you be sure everything is exactly as it should be, and you will not give a document which contains question mark and things like that. Why LaTeX doesn't detect that it needs? Yes?
A question about the reference. Does it create a hyperlink or it's just text?
First, it's just text, but you have an extension which you can note, which is called hyperref. So this is hyper from hyperlink, and you replace link by ref, and then all the ref command gives a link in the PDF. This only works with PDF LaTeX. If you remember, you can compile with LaTeX or PDF LaTeX. LaTeX will produce a DVI which can't support this type of hypertext link. So in this case, this is mandatory, you use PDF LaTeX, but most of you will use PDF LaTeX, in fact. Okay. You might want also to produce these little notes. I don't know if you can see all, maybe the front row counts, but okay. This is just a little a comment on what we are talking about. Maybe a very, very small reference or an advice for the reader. So this is not something that is mandatory to read. So you can put this using the command footnote. So you use, after the word you want to footnote, you want to note about, you use the command footnote with the text you want in the footnote, okay? LaTeX produces all the rest, okay? This is produced by LaTeX, the little one is here is produced by LaTeX. If you have multiple citations in the same footnote in the same page, they will be numbered automatically, and so on, okay? Here you can see this verb command. This is what I was talking about when I told you that you can output backslash without saying text backslash entirely, and you see that it produced this kind of verbatim text, which is the text exactly as I wrote him. This is a special command because this is inherited from TeX, and in TeX you can put sometimes in some commands you can put something different from the curly braces. So here you can put whatever you want as soon as this character is not present in the verbatim text, because this is what is used to detect the end of the verb command. Okay, so here I can use, for example, a plus. I can use braces also, because I don't use curly braces inside. Mostly any character points, if I want. The first character is LaTeX is awaiting the first character to reappear before terminating the command. Okay, now you see, okay, we have a document. It's okay in parts. It's mostly clear. I told you you can change the style of titles. Okay, so for that we need to change the font. We must want a larger font, a bold font or something like that. So here is how you do this. I let you go through this because I'm a little late. So this is quite easy. You have just comments with arguments, or you can use it as a selector, as a switch. In fact, if you in fact, when you use this command, whatever comes after will be compulsory using the Roman family. So if you have questions, we can see later, but I'm a little late. Okay, but this is not very difficult. Here, this is important. This is how you keep presentation and semantics separated, always separated. When you use here text it, which is used to italicize, I can't, okay, in italics. This use directly the fonts, but this interfere with what you are saying. So you can use some kind of comments like emph for emphasizing, which switch to italize. Okay, like this. But better, you can switch back if you want to emphasize something that is in italics. It switch back to Roman family, just upshape. You know this later, this classical later. Okay. This here is the verbose command with plus. Stop me if something is not clear. Then the size. You have commands that change the size from now on. Okay. So for example, here when you select huge, what come after is big, and then after the curly braces, we are in a group, so this command has no effect anymore, and then we have back the font we had before. Okay? Okay, now we'll see how to define commands. Or you might say, is this the good place to we're just beginning LaTeX and you want them to define commands. Okay, this is important because this is again how you separate syntax and semantic. Okay, how you separate the presentation from what you want to say. Exactly, as for the emphasize command. This is also easier if you change your mind and maybe you think that emphasizing is not done by italics, but done by boldface or anything else. This is easier because you don't need to go through all your documents to change every occurrence of TextBF. You just change the definition of emphasizing, and then you get what you want. This can be also easier to use because sometimes you have multiple commands you use every time you have a certain situation. You want to typeset something, a title, an example, an exercise in a way. So you use plenty of commands to have exactly what you want. But if you forget one of the commands, you don't have anymore what you wanted. So you can put this together in just one command and you're sure that all is in it. An example. This is not very difficult. So this use the command new command. Here you give the name of the command like that. Okay. Then you have an optional argument, where in squared braces for LaTeX, which define the number of arguments that will be needed for this command. For example, if I want KTH to have 3 arguments, I need to put 3 in square brackets here, just here. Then comes the definition. Okay, so here I put Techniska Öskolan, and then I italicize the English version. And then I use it. This is exactly what I want to have on the output. Do you understand why this little comment character? In fact, you have seen that new lines are seen as spaces, or if you have not, you will see later. So as new line is seen as spaces, if ever KTH is used in the source file at the beginning of the line, so you have already a new line here, then a new line here, if you don't put the percent character, then this means that you have an empty line. So you will have a paragraph. This is not what you want. So avoid spaces before the command. Okay? Another example. What do you think this will work? Based on the title, no. Okay, this does not produce exactly what we wanted. So we use tiny, which is defined in the size text. I'll go a little quickly on it, but tiny switch on next the what happens. Here is the sharp. The sharp is used to refer to the argument. This is the same as in Perl for for you if you know. So Perl, you can refer to the argument by numbers. Here the same. You don't have names or types for argument, just have numbers. So this does not produce what we want, because here curly braces are not included. They are part of the definition of new command, not part of the result of new command. So the solution is to put again curly braces to protect the content. Okay, this puts exactly what you want, even if the command is awful, because please don't do this kind of thing with size changing in a line. It's just for